broadcast for shooters, hunters, and gun enthusiasts. This is the Firearms Radio Network.
Welcome to episode 136 of Gun Guy Radio. This is a podcast that shines a positive light on the firearms lifestyle. I'm your host, Chick Challen, and this is your weekly dose of positive firearms talk without politics. Well, welcome to the first live Gun Guy Radio show in a while. You can check this one out on youtube.com/firearmsradio. And we have a few guests. Remote studio, the remote hidden Colorado bunker, Sean Herron of the We Like Shooting podcast. Hey, Sean.
Hey, man. How's it going?
It's going great. So how's it going over there at the We Like Shooting, I don't know what to call it, really, show?
Bunker, I think. Bunker's fairly fitting, I think. Yeah. No, it's going great. We're having, tons of fun, having some great guests lately, just really trying to break out of the box and kind of think outside the box and get some people in here that people may not have even thought about or heard of. So we've had some really good guests lately. Everything's going really good. We're staying really busy and having tons and tons and tons of fun.
Very cool. And we have Anthony Miller, our senior producer, editor here at the Firearms Radio Network. How's it going, Anthony?
Keeping busy.
So, yeah, you're editing everything anymore. You edit what? Gun Girl Radio,
Gun Girl Radio, AR-15, competitive rifle. I did the Gun and Gear review this week.
Yeah.
I think that's it. And do other shows occasionally.
Well, we, half of the network wouldn't go out without you, so.
Well, wait a second. We can get someone else to edit our shows?
No, definitely not you. Sean, your show is not even a possibility. You'd have to hire like a team of Koreans.
You have to edit that. Yeah.
You could do it. I'll send you the bleep sound effect. I only use it 75, 80 times per episode, so it's not that bad, actually. 2-hour episode, putting in about 80 bleeps. It only takes about 7.5 to 14 hours.
Yeah, the episodes that Jeremy's not on, you only have like 4 bleeps. So.
Yep, last night we recorded and edited it, and only 2 bleeps.
2?
Amazing.
2? That has to be a record.
It's absolutely a record. I thought that I was, and I'm sure, I may have missed some since I basically leave those Easter eggs for you every week to find and let me know about. But 2. That's all I put in. It's amazing.
All right. Well, a few announcements before we get going. So, attention, Chicagoland listeners, or anyone that wants to fly in like Sean is. There's a bullpup shoot in Waterman, Illinois, September 27th. So, going to be a lot of cool stuff going on. There's going to be, a zombie shoot. I guess you can bring your own rig to that. There's going to be even like some full autos that you can pay to shoot. And more info at bullpupshoot.com, but there will be several Firearms Radio Network personalities there, including Sean of We Like Shooting, Aaron as well, Hank, and Mike Islin of Reloading Radio or podcast is going to be there as well. So it'd be an honor to see you guys there, shake your hand, meet you guys. Be really cool to, say hey. And
yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. And you said we could stay in your room, so.
Wait, what?
You agreed months ago. You've probably forgotten, but I've got the email.
Well, actually, I have the pull-out here, the pull-out couch here at the studio already for you. I got the dead mice out of it, and it's aired out, so it's good to go.
Perfect. Well, I'll have Aaron sleep there, and I'll just stay at the hotel we booked.
So it sounds like a plan, except he threatened to pee on something of mine, so I'm a little nervous about that.
It just comes with the territory. Just nod your head, smile, and move on.
So, September 27th, and then also Dallas area listeners, October 14th, that's coming up really quick as well, is our next Firearms Radio Network Gun Runner Tough Mudder. So you can check that out. Jack Templin and Carol of Fat to Fit HQ are running that Tough Mudder event in Dallas. So put that on your calendars. October 4th, I believe that's the Saturday run. And then they're doing a listener meetup that Friday at PF Chang's in Dallas. I have the address and the show notes for this week's show. So that's going to be at 10 p.m. You can hang out with Jack and Carol and the rest of the Gunrunner team. So I'm a little disappointed that Aaron's not going to this one. You know, it's always entertaining to hear his Tough Mudder stories.
Yeah, absolutely. He was supposed to run one in Michigan, but I don't think he's going to. Apparently he's too fat.
Well, you know, when you can't fit through the obstacles, that's an issue.
Right.
You just run him over, though.
He was plugging up the tubes that you had to crawl through. It was a big thing.
Yeah, it was big. Check it out, Tough Mudder Run, Dallas, Texas, October the 4th. And, you can also contribute to the Firearms Radio Network and Gun Guy Radio by shopping Amazon. I don't know why I have This Week in Guns in here. I almost read that.
Just for fun.
But yeah, I'm sure you guys already shop Amazon, so just click the Amazon affiliate banner before your next shopping trip, and it helps us out. So let's get into the main topic for this week's episode. We're talking about gun store and range experiences and how they can be better. So first up, let's talk about our first gun. Our first gun, did we buy it at a store? What was that experience like? So Sean, how about you? First gun, was it at a store? How'd that go?
Yeah, absolutely. So a little background, all of our kids had kind of grown up and moved out, so we were camping in a tent, and I was like, you know what? I think I want to get a gun just for a little bit of protection in situations like this, and so she said, yeah, no problem. So I went to a place called Sportsman's Warehouse. I'm not sure how nationally known they are, but it's kind of a big box store for fishing and hunting and all kinds of stuff. Went up to the counter, didn't really know anything, hadn't done any research at all, and ended up walking out with a Smith & Wesson M&P 40 caliber. And I loved the gun. I loved the M&P line. It just felt right in my hands. It felt great. And then I got out and went to the range and shot the 40 cal and instantly hated 40 caliber. So, it was definitely an eye-opening experience that I needed to do basically all my research before I walked in the door and just assume that everyone was going to try to sell me whatever they had the most of and needed to get rid of the fastest. So, my first experience was fairly terrible, and I ended up getting rid of that gun later and getting the same gun in 9mm, which I absolutely love. So, yeah, it was a good experience. It was a bad experience. I did go to a store, but I've been there and I've bought another gun there since. But just doing a little bit of research has made everything better for me. Very
cool. So, Anthony, first gun, buy it in a store?
Yeah, the first gun I bought in a store was a Springfield XD9. I ended up buying it from Turner's, which I'm from Southern California. It's kind of a smaller chain in Southern California, in the Southern California area. And, it was a pretty good experience. It's in California, so buying a gun's always a little weird, especially for a handgun. For your first, to buy a pistol in California, you have to pass the handgun safety test, which is $25 and maybe 30 questions. Don't remember the number. But it was pretty easy. They handed me a brochure. Here, read this. Took the test, passed, bought the gun, and then got to wait 10 days, which is terrible because I just plopped down $450, $500, however much it was at the time. I gotta wait to go pick it up and go shoot it. Especially since I already shot that model of gun because a roommate at the time dragged me off to the range. Is like, here, shoot this, and that was kind of what got me hooked to convince me to go and buy a gun of my own.
Well, that waiting period was good though, because you were just so angry at the time, Anthony, and the cool-off period. And
yeah.
So how's it?
Still got to go through the waiting period until they comply with the court's decision.
Right, that's right. That recently got. I guess, overturned in a way.
Yeah.
So, what was your experience like in the store and all that?
Actually, it was pretty good. I've, at this point, bought several guns from that location at Turner's. But it was during their big spring sale, so I was able to try out a Glock, which I don't particularly like the grip angle on Glocks, so I knew I'm like, no thank you. And then they showed me the Springfield, and I handled that, and I really liked it. They weren't really pressuring me into a specific model. They were just kind of showing me a bunch of the stuff that they had, which, for a chain store is kind of nice, because I know I've had friends and heard of people that have issues at chain stores that, they're trying to sell you, whatever they have in stock. So that was kind of nice.
Very cool. So my first, I think when I turned 21, I think is when I bought my first pistol. And I went with a Walther P22, one with is it the nickel slide? What do they call that? It's got the silver looking slide, or not really silver. It's a little bit different. But I went with that.
They're nickel or stainless.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I think it is nickel. I don't know. Now I'm second guessing myself, but I went with that because I was like, I want to get my wife into shooting, and so get something like a 22, and yeah, stereotypical guy. Buy my wife a gun. I'm buying it for you, honey, right?
Right.
And went to a Gander Mountain store, and I think it was actually a fairly good price at the time, but like ever since going in Gander Mountain, I look at the prices, I'm like, eeh. But yeah, Gander Mountain, and it was, not a good, not a bad experience. It was just okay. It went well. Illinois, we have a 3-day waiting period for firearms because we're not as angry as Californians. But yeah, so waited 3 days, picked it up, bought a case at the store. I remember that. Picked out a case, and yeah, that's kind of how my handgun journey. Well, my dad had them, but how my personal handgun journey started out. So, but yeah, so it's. I think we're kind of showing here that we're all averaged, kind of average here. We're buying our first gun at the big box store.
Yeah.
We're not really. I don't think I did a ton of research before I bought it. I kind of went in there, kind of looked around. I probably looked around at like Cabela's and other big box stores at the time, but kind of just went with personally. I just kind of went with what I thought might be good. Not that I had tried it out before.
Right.
It sounds like that's kind of a similar experience to you, Sean. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and what I didn't realize is that buying a gun is like buying a car. You kind of go in, and you're walking into a sales situation, and these are salespeople with commissions, quotas, and stuff like that, depending on where you go. So, this guy didn't really, he didn't try to fit the gun to me at all. I mean, it was absolutely like he was trying to sell me a car, and he was trying to get me into the car that he thought, I'm not sure if it paid a better commission or what, but there was no real holding a bunch of guns. There was no real kind of asking me what it was for. It was just, here, check this one out. You might like it. I think I held one or two that day. And again, I had a very specific purpose that I wanted the gun for. So I was like, as long as it fires a bullet, I think I'll be okay. But yeah, there was not a whole lot of personalized service going on. I think it's just kind of get me in, get me out, and move on to the next guy.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about how gun store and range experiences can be better. I guess that's a good point, Sean. Is that they can maybe train their employees to ask those questions. Why are you buying a gun? What are you using it for? Are you buying it for yourself? Are you buying it for someone else? What's your experience level? Stuff like that. Maybe to not to like pry into your personal business, but to better serve you. To find a product that fits your needs, fits your budget, and all that, and not just trying to push product out the door. So
yeah,
Anthony, what else? I'm sure you've had experiences since then. What other areas do you see that maybe could be improved in a gun store experience?
Yeah, definitely a salesperson taking their time to show you, some of the other options that they have. And it's always not always the best amount of options in California. Not only are you limited by the roster, it's kind of what they're going to have in stock to show you at the time. That's not always a huge selection. I get fairly lucky. The indoor range that I like to shoot at has a good selection of rental pistols. So with the exception of one, every pistol that I've bought since, I've gone and shot something similar or the exact same model and make sure it's something that I like. And that's always something that I would recommend is, if you can, if there's any way, go out and shoot a gun like it before you buy it. So that way you're not buying a .40 caliber like Sean did and realizing it's going to be a bit of a handful.
Yeah, a wrist snapper.
So, yeah, having that option of shooting before you buy, that's not always going to be possible because not all gun stores have a range and stuff like that. But that's, having a good selection of at least having, maybe one of every style of pistol or something for people to try out would be great. Sean, what else comes to mind to improve, the average Joe's gun store experience?
Yeah. I agree with a lot of the things that he said. I think the biggest thing for me is I understand the economics of getting people in, getting people out, buying whatever they're going to buy, and then moving on to the next person. I understand that, they're obviously short-staffed. Pretty much everyone's short-staffed at all times these days. And to actually take the time to talk to somebody takes a bit. So I understand the economics behind that. And however, when I decided to buy my second gun or trade in my first gun and buy another gun, I just called around, and I called every gun store in the area, and I just basically would ask a couple questions that I had written down, and if they would talk to me about it and ask me a couple questions and kind of have a little bit of a discussion, even if it was just 30 seconds per item, I would put a star next to them, and if they just basically pawned me off or said they didn't know or just kind of blew me off, I would strike out that place. So to me, the most important thing is finding a place that's actually willing to spend some time with you. I think I visited 2 stores that time because there was only 2 places that were willing to talk to me. One of them I went in and they were definitely a bit snooty and just maybe a little bit elitist. Like obviously I didn't know what I was talking about. I was coming in from a position of having no knowledge at all. And I understandably, again, they deal with that stuff all day long and I'm sure it gets old. However, it's really tough to kind of just push people away like that. But the place that I actually kind of finally decided on and have been going to ever since, I went in, they talked to me, they let me hold about probably 30 different guns, and they just kind of made me feel welcome and that it was okay that I didn't know anything, and they just kind of really helped guide me along that journey. And that was when I bought my first 1911 because it felt the best in my hand of all the guns that I tried out that day. So I think to improve, really just spending some time with the people, like we've been saying this entire episode, spend some time, ask some questions, and just kind of make them feel like it's okay that they're not gun experts.
Right. It's all about the people coming in. I mean, it's all, that's what it really comes down to, whatever business you're into. And I think our economy is kind of changing more towards, that kind of structure is, people first rather than how it's been in the past, just trying to shove product out the door. And, I get that so often that I'm just sick of going in places that, they just kind of assume you don't know what the heck you're talking about. And it's really sad how common that is. But so, yeah, that's a really good point. So I wanted to kind of lay out here my vision for, because gun stores have to change their model, really. Their whole business model it has to change because the online marketplace is here and people can find the exact thing they want. And they're doing this in every other aspect of their life for the most part. Amazon, we do the Amazon affiliate link because everyone shops at Amazon. That's why we do that, because they're buying, whether it's shoes or household items, or you can get, some firearm accessories there. You can, whatever, paper targets, to toilet paper. You can get it on Amazon. So, and then there's places like Bud's Gun Shop, Kentucky Gun Company, Cheaper Than Dirt. What other big online gun retailers am I missing here?
Even like you got
gun broker,
like, gun broker. Yeah, you can go and see. A lot of the smaller gun shops will put their inventory on there, and so you got access to all kinds of stuff.
Well, I think the first online purchase I made was Gun Broker, and it was actually a gun store in Utah putting new stock up on there because they could move it there just as quick as in the store. So yeah, how do gun stores have to evolve to cater? They're really catering to a whole new customer. They're not catering to the good old boy coming in buying his hunting rifle anymore. It's modern day. I'd say mostly pistol shooters, maybe AR-15, more tactical side of the market versus, buy a gun once every 25 years hunter type of market, So that's really changing. So, I was thinking, before the show, what kind of, if I was opening a gun store, what kind of vision would I have for that gun store? And so, I think, Sean bringing up the people aspect, that would have to be, the number one aspect of it. I would think, treating everyone like your friend, like your brother. Maybe not brother-in-law, depends on your family. But having them come in and not necessarily, having the mindset, oh, I have to stock all this stuff because I have to have it in stock if people are going to buy it. But maybe, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a gun store owner, but, maybe having more of a mindset, well, people are probably going to be buying it online, and more so they are. So what if I had more of, a kind of a stock where kind of the same mindset of, a rental counter where you kind of have one of every kind, but not every variation. You find out what they're looking for, find out who they're buying for, what their experience is like, stuff like that. You really get to know them. You find out, what direction you think they're going, and then you have instead of the gun counter with guns in it, it's just a big LED screen, and it pops up, and you can, be like the Minority Report. You can slide all these guns around and be like that or like this, slide them back and forth on the screen, and you can be like, oh, not a Glock, what about a Springfield? And you could even I'm thinking mostly handguns, but you could even have a programmer do all this where they're actual size, so you kind of put your hand down to it and stuff. Be like, oh yeah, I see how big that gun is. And then you can order it and get it in for them, or you can be like, well, let's look at buds, I don't care. You can buy it at Buds. We'll transfer it in for you. We'll take care of you. I'm here to serve you. I'm here to, get you exactly what you want. And then, maybe they could, obviously that's not going to be hugely profitable, but they can, maybe accessories is where they could go. They could be like, well, I got this guy, that works here. He'll make a leather or Kydex holster for you. He'll make a Kydex holster for you while you wait. Something, just target a different aspect of the market for their profitability maybe. But, bring in some state-of-the-art technology, bring in the customer service, bring in the, taking things to, the next level as far as aftermarket service goes. Why don't, there's this match they shoot every Wednesday night down at the range. Why don't you bring it out there? See if you like, competition type stuff. And, if you do, we can get you hooked up with a belt, magazine pouches, stuff like that.
Yeah. I love your dream. I think it's amazing.
That would be awesome.
I would love to go to a place like that. But the bottom line is these days with all these online retailers and, just all these places that are dealing in so much volume that the local gun stores, they cannot compete. I mean, they can't even get those prices. So, they put a lot of personalized attention into it, but when they're making less than $100 a gun, probably average,
right?
That's so hard. I mean, how much are you going to spend for $100? You've got 10 people in the store.
You're exactly right. And my point is they can't rely on that. Because really the profit margins for guns, anywhere is just stinky. As it's just terrible.
Yeah.
I do not ever want to sell guns for a living because that profit margin is terrible. But, if they could figure out high profit things to pair with the selling of guns or transferring in of guns, so they'd be more of a specialty shop, maybe more an accessory shop, something that, holsters are super high profit margin. That's why there's a million holster companies. I mean, compared to guns, they are. And, just looking for stuff like that, that's a higher, because, 10% profit margin, that's terrible.
Yeah, I'm not sure that we're their target market anymore. I mean, their target market is basically the good old boys who just like to come in and hang out at the counter and occasionally buy a rifle or something, like you said, the hunters, or people who, like when I bought my first gun, just walk in off the street and really have no idea what they're looking for. But even accessories they can't compete with because there's so many people that can just sell 10,000 of them on Amazon for, a $5 profit per item.
Right, yeah, and on Amazon you don't have to worry about keeping a storefront or, so a lot less overhead there.
So they can't compete. So, I mean, I think the only way that a gun store is going to survive these days is just kind of by, and I'm not even sure what the solution is, honestly. I don't know how to tell them that everything they sell can be sold cheaper and easier elsewhere. In Colorado, we've got this new law where there's no private transfers. Every transfer, even if you sell a gun to someone, your neighbor, you have to go to a gun store and have a background check and all that stuff. So I think that the market has gotten so bad for these small gun stores that most of them charge $100 for that transfer fee, which is just out of control. Or, a lot of them, if you buy a gun on the internet, it's, a $50, $75 transfer fee. And I think that gouging the consumer is the absolute worst thing to do, because I can guarantee I won't go in there. I won't impulse buy some ammo. I'm not going to impulse buy an extra magazine. But I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah, I mean, this is something I think as an industry we have to figure out, though, because we can't have all the FFLs go away. I mean, if you look at the statistics from like the 60s until now, like the amount of FFLs has just dwindled to nothing. I mean, there used to be like tens of thousands more FFLs in this country than there are now. And, that could become a real problem here in the near future if all these small mom and pops close down, then you can't transfer in your online orders. Then what?
Well, in Colorado, there's tons and tons of kitchen table FFLs. Yeah. And I think that is huge. There may be less gun stores, but there's 10 times the amount of kitchen FFLs. I can think of probably 4 or 5 just off the top of my head. I don't necessarily 100% use them just because I don't really know them, and it makes me a little bit nervous to have all the rifles that we get in for reviews sent to someone's house that I don't really know. But, I think that they kind of have the right idea. They have no storefront. They have not really much overhead at all. And when they get someone who comes by for word of mouth, then they can sell a gun and make $100, and it's not the end of the world because they usually have other jobs and stuff like that. But, yeah, again, tough.
I've gotten super lucky. I've got a kitchen table FFL that when I do transfer buy online, he used to work in the same department as I did, and that's kind of how I got in or found out that he did that. So now, I've got a good relationship with him. So that's kind of nice. And I almost wonder if something like that's the future, where, maybe a kitchen tape moves more towards that, where they can come up with some cheaper way to demo guns. Maybe even like I don't know, maybe like the blue guns, so you can at least put something in someone's hands as this is what it's going to feel like. Because the blue guns are, significantly cheaper, and you can at least get the feel of what it's going to feel like, which would actually be kind of cool. Like in Jake's idea of the store, you put something, here's a picture of it, and you put something physical in your hand. Does this actually fit you? Is it going to work for you, or do we need to look at something else?
Right. 3D print all the models.
I mean, I think we need to look at other industries. I think could be helpful, looking at other industries like, gas stations, for example. They hardly make anything on the fuel sales. It's all, the Hostess Twinkies that you buy and the pop and everything that you buy. But what do you go to the gas station for? You usually go there for gas, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if we're usually going to the gun store to transfer a gun or buy a gun, then I think we just need to figure out what the Twinkies and the Hostess and the Pepsi of the gun world are.
Yeah, and that's probably true. Maybe it's the movie theater model, and they just sell popcorn and soda for $9 each.
Well, that's why I was thinking holsters, because, anyone can make a Kydex holster, so why not, have your own branded gun store Kydex holsters or something, something similar. It doesn't have to be holstered, but, something along that vein, or just start selling, lottery tickets. Maybe that's what we should do.
There you go. That's actually not a bad idea right there. That's where the money is.
Lottery tickets and snacks and gun stores.
I like it. I'm going to suggest it.
All right. Well, glad we solved that problem. You're welcome, firearms industry. So, I mean, the other thing we could think about, well, we couldn't, but like, the industry itself, like companies. So I interviewed a gentleman a while back. I think, I'm going to mix up who it was. It was around episode 50, so it was a long time ago. But anyways, he told a story about how there used to be, I think it was Winchester-branded shooting ranges all across the nation. Winchester had these, company-operated ranges all across the nation so that people could come and shoot their guns. And so maybe we need a gun company to step up, have like Smith & Wesson or Ruger or someone have branded stores or ranges/stores to provide this infrastructure that we need to further the firearms commerce, really. Because wouldn't that be a win-win situation for them? They'd have more distribution points. They'd have branded distribution points.
It would be good. It would just be huge infrastructure. I mean, for a range, just the ventilation is a ridiculous expense. And here in Colorado Springs, we've got one indoor shooting range right down the road. They're building another one that's about 14 miles northwest of me. We've got another one that's being built probably about 15 miles up the interstate, which is kind of cool. And then we've got another one who's working on being built somewhere in town. So I mean, there's definitely, it seems like there's room. I mean, I assume that these people have done their homework and see that there's an actual need for all these ranges in this market. So, I mean, that's probably a really good idea. And, they could have their products and showcase them and actually have them there for people to fire before they buy and stuff like that. And then, since they're the factory, they could even offer better prices than most people could.
Yeah, bring down the price, need more people interested.
Well, or go to like I think we even brought this up way a long time ago, but like an Apple Store type experience, where you can have a Smith & Wesson Genius Bar and bring in your gun.
I'm never buying a gun from a guy in skinny jeans. I'm just going to tell you that right now.
Oh, come on, why not? Here.
No, negatory.
Well, anyways, so yeah, let's wrap up the main topic. So, range. Let's talk about ranges really quick. So, first range trip. How did you find the range? How did you decide on that range? Is what I mean. And where did you go? How was that experience, Sean?
We have a public range here called Dragon Man's that they've got a huge firing line, half of its pistol, half of its rifle. Yeah, and you kind of get there, and they've got probably 200 positions for people to shoot from. Maybe not that many, maybe like 150 positions. And you get there and you see the most unsafe behavior in the universe because there's only one range safety officer. Ooh. And that was the first place that I went to. That was the first public range that I went to. And that was the time that I realized that I absolutely never wanted to go to another public range. So then from that point, it was just kind of call around, figure out who the private ranges are. And then, but the problem with private ranges is that there's either huge long waiting lists. There's a place that I'm a member of that has a 2-year waiting list, or ridiculous fees, like the initiation fee at the indoor range that I belong to right over here is $375, I believe, just for them to let you become a member, and then it's $300 or $400 a year on top of that. But so I mean, I just kind of looked online. I Googled gun range, found the public range, went to the public range, and then realized that I never wanted to go back. But I did go there a few times just until I kind of got my feet underneath me. But, finding a range is actually harder than finding a good gun store, in my opinion, because you want a place that's safe. You want a place that has some amenities that are fairly nice. And living in Colorado Springs, I'm super lucky. We have some great ranges. And like I said, I belong to several of them, and I've got some great options. But the public ranges, not my favorite, and I think you probably run into that no matter what state you're in, just because there's limited resources to manage a ton of shooters.
Yeah.
Well, the real question living in your location is how does the Stargate program affect your local economy?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Everything here is Egyptian, just like the movie Stargate. We built off that.
You get cheap 5.7 ammo.
Yes, absolutely. We all have P90s, PS90s, so we're good to go there.
I knew it.
We keep an eye out.
I knew it was real. And so, Anthony, first range experience. How did you find out about it? How did that all play out?
Like I said, my first range experience was, like I said, is how I ended up, was kind of what led me to buying my first pistol. I'd been as a kid, been with my parents, but I'd say my first real experience as an adult was I had a roommate who just found this new range that was opening up probably about 10 miles away from where I live, new indoor range. And he's like, oh, let's go. All right. So we kind of went off, and neither of us, he owned a 22 at the time. And he's like, oh, let's go. And so we went, and there's a new range, super cool, large selection. And they were super chill. They asked us, hey, have you ever shot before? They were really good about figuring out, just a real quick baseline, can we hand these people something more than a 22 and let them, go shoot? And so that's how we ended up shooting a 9mm. And so, that was fun. It's a great indoor range, a couple of miles from where I am. It's where I'm a member now and do most of my shooting. So I gotten fairly lucky. The problem is in Southern California, you got to drive like at least 40 miles to get to an outdoor range where you can actually shoot rifles. And then that's where it gets a little iffy, because there's a couple of ranges that are definitely the public range vibe here. It's like, I don't feel so safe being here, or, the range officers are kind of weird or whatever. So that's been the challenge. And I've found, luckily I found an outdoor range that I can go to, every couple of months, not as definitely as much as I'd like because of the drive, but, it is what it is. Definitely using Google to find stuff, looking at reviews, what people post. So,
agreed. Greatest resource ever.
So my first experience at a range was actually I think it was an IDPA competition. It was the first time I ever went, by my, as an adult, as you would say. Actually, growing up, I think I always shot just on my dad's private range at my parents' farm, really. So I don't know that as a kid I ever went to a real range. But yeah, it was an IDPA match, and I went with a buddy, and it was it was pretty good overall. Because growing up shooting on a farm, I was like, so what's all this safety stuff? Like when can you touch the gun? And, all that stuff was like foreign to me. Right. So I'm like where, can I take the gun out here? Like, where do I even, am I going to get yelled at? And stuff like that. So, so I think that's something that can be improved at a lot of ranges, like making the low, what do you even call them? The safety tables, right? Make them more clear. Make them more clear of where they are. Where count maybe have a big a state park signboard. Like, here are the procedures for. Well,
and it's terrible because every range has different procedures. So you never you go to a different range than you're used to, and you're like, what am I supposed to do at this one? Where am I supposed to take the gun out of the case? Can I take it out of the back tables, or do I have to walk up to the firing line, or rifles down or up, or?
Yeah, and that's a big difference between the public ranges too. The public range that I went to was just basically no instruction whatsoever. So I had to go up to the RO and just say, hey, I'm sorry, it's my first time here. Can you tell me what the rules are so I don't make a mistake and you don't have to yell at me and then I don't have to punch you? But the private ranges that I go to, the one that has a 2-year wait, when I went in, you have to go through an orientation. So you basically, everyone who was just accepted as a member has to drive to the range and go through an orientation where they talk about all the rules and, every single rule, and they give you a sheet, and they're like, if you disobey, your membership will be taken away and all that stuff. And then the indoor range that I belong to, it was kind of the same thing. You go in, you pay your outrageous, exorbitant fees, and then they just basically go through it in detail, line by line, and just tell you exactly what the rules are and so on and so forth. And they're labeled fairly well as just as a matter of fact, because they have the actual money to make those signs because they charge so much for their membership. Whereas the public range that I went to, I think it's $12 for the entire day. So they're more about the volume and not necessarily about the safety. But yeah, just if you get to a place and you have questions, people who are listening, ask the question. If you're at a place with no range officers, even go up to another shooter and just be like, hey, can we decide what the rules are here? What's a hot range, what's a cold range, when we're going to touch guns, when we're not going to touch guns, because this is life and death stuff. So definitely want to be confident in what you're doing no matter what kind of range you're at.
So I think something we can take away here is that maybe we could use some standardization to range procedures. Maybe even standardized, like road signs, are all standard across the U.S. Could we have like some kind of standard state park style, range sign that you could put up at every firing, or outside every firing line?
That would make a lot of sense. We have the NRA and their educational arm. It would make sense that would be probably the organization to do something like that. It would make a lot of sense. Honestly, I would like to see that.
Yeah.
All right. Hear that, NRA? It's on you. All right. We solved a couple problems tonight. So,
also have Colion Noir call me.
Oh, you know what? He was going to be on this show with us tonight, but Sean, you were coming on, and I had to bump him. So
I totally understand, man. It's terrible. It's tough.
Avoiding you.
So yeah, final thoughts. Better experiences at gun ranges and stores. What do you think, Sean?
Yeah, I'd say if you own a gun store, if you own a gun range, just focus on the person. That's the reason that I go to my local gun store. It's the reason that when I do buy a gun, I usually buy it from them and not online, because I support them, because they've supported me. They've been there since I very first started shooting. It's where I took my first safety class. It's where I became an instructor. It's where I teach. They were always focused on me, and they allowed me to grow, and they supported me. And it's priceless in my opinion. That's why I go there. It's why I pay $50, $75 more. And just a little thing that I would like to point out for a lot of people that do buy their guns online. Your local place might be $50 or $75 more, but when you buy a gun online, don't forget you're going to have to pay shipping. You're going to have to pay for the probably more expensive transfer fee and stuff like that, and it's probably going to even out. So if you can support your local place, if it's a place that you like and they treat you well, it's probably worth it in the long run just to kind of support them and maybe not save $50 here or there. Just to make sure that you still have them as a resource going forward.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if they're a quality store with quality employees, they treat you with respect and all that. They're the ideal gun store. And maybe check it out first before you transfer something in there.
Right.
But you make a really good point. Yeah, because buying online, I'm looking to make my next purchase, and shipping and transfer and all that. A lot, especially if you're on, depends on which end of the spectrum as far as budget goes, or even brand, it can vary a lot. But local stores, it really pays to shop around, because they can be, even on the lower end budget guns, they can be, $100 difference on the same gun. It really pays to shop around, and yeah.
Yeah.
So, Anthony, final thoughts.
Just on range, on gun stores and ranges, don't try and be the know-it-all. Spend time, know people. Don't try to be, I work at a gun store, or I know everything about guns. But, take the time to get to know people, find out what they really need or really are looking to get out of something, and, enjoy spending time with people, or at least pretend, because, that's how you're going to get people to want to come back, and that's an important thing. about going in, because if you're a gun store, you're going to go in and you're going to spend a decent amount of money if you're buying a gun. You want people to feel good about what they bought, and not walking out of your store like, oh, I get ripped off, or oh, they were rude to me, or so you want to try and eliminate those, any of those harsh feelings that a customer might have towards you. And, it's not always possible, but a lot of times you can do things on their end to make it a little bit better.
Maybe that's why I'm having so many bad experiences, because I want to let them know that I'm the president of the Firearms Radio Network. Don't you know who I am? And then it just goes downhill from there. So maybe I should change that.
But don't they know who you are?
What?
Yeah, you're kind of
exactly.
Well, I think final thoughts for me is just I think for the industry as a whole and gun stores, think outside the box. Look at other industries, look at what other people are doing, and maybe industries that have also been hit with the internet age, and how are they succeeding? Or how are gun stores in other states, how are they innovating? Call them up, talk to them, because if they're in another state, they're not, your local competition. Maybe there should be some kind of, maybe there is, I don't even know. Maybe there's some kind of business, organization to the gun store world that you can be a member of. Something to have, like some kind of gun store mastermind group where you can all, figure out a better way to do things.
The NSSF, I know at SHOT Show, I believe they have all kinds of stuff for gun stores like that, like how to compete in the new and changing marketplace and stuff like that. So maybe that's an organization that's doing a lot of stuff like that. I know they do it at SHOT Show, but maybe they have some stuff outside that 7 days a year.
Yeah, I'm sure they absolutely do. I'll actually put a link to the NSSF in the show notes. So, that about wraps up the main topics. Sean, are you into manly workwear? You said you're not into skinny jeans, so you're not going to find any skinny jeans at Duluth Trading Company.
No, I'm into it, man. The manlier the better. Actually, if I could have some fur on my pants, I'm in. Well,
you can check out the Shoreman's Fleece. Kind of feels like you're wearing fur. The Shoreman's Fleece is awesome. 100% windproof fleece. Jackets, some of them have hoodies. They even have a fleece vest, and they have fleece caps, fleece wind blocker face mask. You can totally covered for this fall season. We were just talking about before the show how the chillier season is setting in to Colorado, California, Illinois. So these personally best jacket period I've ever had is my Duluth Shoreman's Fleece jacket. So
their stuff looks awesome. I don't have the pleasure of owning any personally, but now let me ask you a quick question. So it's windproof, sure. Completely windproof?
Yeah.
Is that from the inside and the outside? Because
well, I mean, if you pass wind, there's probably no guarantee on that. They probably have a disclaimer. So
all right. I'll test him at the movie theater.
Okay. No, they really are. When Duluth stuff says windproof, it really is, because on a windy, chilly day, you zip that up tight, and you're like, whoa, this is not like my other jackets. So it totally is.
That's cool, man. I would like to have some of this for when I'm there in a couple weeks, since it'll probably be cold.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll let you wear my jacket. I'm that kind of guy.
I'm in.
All right, so go to gunguyradio.com/Duluth for more info. So let's talk a little bit about Patreon. Sean, I heard We Like Shooting is doing a Patreon campaign.
Yeah, Patreon has been amazing. What's really amazing, I mean, Patreon provides a tool, but the best part is that the listeners of the network are amazing. And, Patreon's just a chance where they can pledge a specific amount per episode. They can cap it at whatever amount they want to pay per month. And, every time one of these shows launches an episode, it basically tallies it up. And then at the end of the month, it bills everybody. But it's been huge. I mean, this microphone that I'm talking on, all this mixing equipment that I have over here for the We Like Shooting show, the digital recorder, this is all bought with money from the listeners. And, we truly appreciate it. And, on the We Like Shooting show, we have all kinds of great prizes, and I know that Gun Guy Radio and This Week in Guns are doing very, very similar things.
Wow, and I like how you've described it on your show how you, I'm looking at your page right now, how you have 114 bosses.
We have a lot of bosses, yeah. I mean, because basically that's what it is, right? I mean, these are the people, and when those people email me, when they send us messages on Facebook, I always reply. I mean, these are the people who are supporting the show. They're the people who, in my opinion, are the biggest fans of the show. And and don't get me wrong, I understand there's a lot of people who want to help, but it's just not financially feasible, and I totally get that. So that's why our show remains free, and that's why Gun Guy Radio is free. It's why This Week in Guns is free, right. Because we want that content to be out there, and we appreciate every single listener. It's just a way for the people who can to kind of help out and make it better. I mean, if you listen to episode 1 of We Like Shooting and episode 57 that we released today, the quality difference is night and day, and that's from the support of the amazing people who listen to the shows.
Absolutely, and I can't believe you have 114 listeners, let alone patrons.
I know, it's like 100% rate, right?
You guys have a lot of mom and dads and family members are supporting your guys' hobby. Isn't that cute? No.
Yeah, well, we told them we aren't coming to Thanksgiving unless they give us money, so...
Well, I am a patron of We Like Shooting, and that's an easy way to show your support for the shows you love. And for $20, Aaron will make you a peanut butter sandwich and send it to you every week for a year. So I think that alone is worth the price of admission.
It's the most ridiculous thing that's ever happened, and we actually did have someone sign up for that package. So yeah, Aaron gets to send peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. We sent them a tactical lunchbox with Molly straps and all kinds of goodies. It's got like an MRE style sandwich bag, and so that's pretty exciting. In addition, they get the battle box as well. But the sandwiches are the real selling point for that package.
Very cool. So patreon.com/WeLikeShooting or WeLikeShooting.com/pledge?
Either one.
All right. Very cool. So let me hit on the Gun Guy Radio Patreon, battle box perks real quick here. So if you pledge at the battle box level, which is $15, we have some pretty awesome LA Police gear products. Actually, everything you see back here behind me, I'm kind of afraid it's going to avalanche onto me during a show here. And there's a lot of stuff. LA Police Gear bags, bailout bags, hats, and then our newest contributor, Duke Cannon Supply Company, has furnished you, the listener, who support us through the Patreon campaign, some pretty awesome manly soap. Duluth Trading Company actually carries the soap, and that's where I first tried it. But it's manly, big bars of soap, limited. So they supplied some limited edition military field boxes with gift packs of soap. And actually, let me grab one. So yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. It comes in a 7.62. Steel ammo can, like a real ammo can, like one I opened up, and like these are from the desert because it had sand in it and stuff, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, you open it up and you got what, 1, 2, 3, 5 different, so big old blocks of hunting soap. So big old block of.
Is that scent free and all that good stuff?
Yeah. So it's
amazing.
Yeah, so it's lethal on odors because getting winded is not an option, I guess.
Love it. Amazing.
Yeah. So a portion of proceeds also go to benefit U.S. veterans, made in the USA, I should also say. I think the one I tried was this one, the big-ass brick of soap that smells like victory. It has, I think it has like oatmeal in it, so it's a little bit hippie, but it's rough though. It's like rough cut oatmeal, so it'll like scrub your raw. So
Love it.
yeah,
That's cool. I've never heard of them. Duke Cannon Supply Company.
yeah,
Check them out.
yeah. It says it's bigger than 3 times bigger than feminine bars of soap, and it says it's not for clowns. So I
Perfect.
guess I
I don't
already
even like
can't use
clowns.
it.
Right. Absolutely.
So yeah, and each one, curious enough, comes with a screwdriver.
I don't know where I would use that in the shower, but I'll try.
Hey, if you're a man, you're gonna know how to. Never mind.
Right. I'll use it to turn the water on. I'll just smash the handle off, and I'll use that to turn it on from now on.
Right, you got a leaky faucet. So yeah, Duke Cannon Supply, pretty awesome soap, and yeah, these military field gift boxes are going to be going out to the patrons, and actually, the next 2 patrons that sign up, no matter what level, I'm going to send them a field kit of soap. So next 2, and Duke Cannon really over-delivered, so I'm going to also over-deliver, and the next We Like Shooting patron, I'm also going to send them a gift box of soap.
Say what?
Yeah.
All right. That's awesome. And can I just say real quick that, I know Gun Guy Radio and This Week in Guns are doing the Patreon project, and we here at We Like Shooting, we are patrons of those as well because, those are the first gun podcasts that I listen to. So, I'm very interested in their ongoing future and just supporting Jake and the network who's done so much for us in every way that I can.
Oh, I'm honored, and it's so sweet the way you lie, Sean.
Don't.
Did you see on the Duke Cannon site that they have the American Soap and the Hatchet set?
Yes,
What?
I did. Everything about them is amazing.
Isn't it? Yeah, there's somewhere else that it says their soap is not made in France.
I love it.
So,
They might just have become my favorite soap company.
and then they also have there's a really big set of soap, and I think they call it the F-ton pack of soap.
They've got the big ass brick of soap, and it says it's got a hatchet with a swipe through it. It says gets you clean, not, can I say laid?
Yes.
Good, because I did.
But yeah, a big shout out to Duke Cannon, and our patrons are going, you the listener are going to get your hands on this for supporting both This Week in Guns and Gun Guy Radio at the $15 level. And like I said, the next 2 patrons of Gun Guy Radio are going to get one, as well as the next 1 patron of We Like Shooting. So hurry up, sign up.
Awesome.
Send you some big ass soap in the mail. So I'm really kind of dreading shipping these because they weigh like 500 pounds. But
Just throw them in one of the, what do they call it? The medium flat rate box. I think they'll fit.
oh yeah, they might.
One of these.
I don't
And
know.
if it fits, it ships.
Medium or a large, yeah.
They.
Remember,
I went to pick these boxes up. I'm like, holy crap! What is in these?
I can't even imagine how that was delivered to you.
I don't know. It's I kind of feel bad for the delivery person, but not really. So, all right. So yeah, check it out. Patreon.com/week/gun for This Week in Guns or Gun Guy Radio. And I just wanted to again, like Sean said, thank all of the listeners for making these shows possible. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be taking our shows to the next level, and we wouldn't be here at all, really. So,
Absolutely. Can I mention our giveaway?
yeah, what do you got going on?
So just going a little bit further on Patreon, for We Like Shooting, once we hit $500 an episode, we're giving away a rifle and a pistol to 2 lucky winners. So that's some exciting stuff. And when we hit $200 an episode, we gave away an AR-15 chambered and 204 Ruger to 1 lucky winner, Bill A. So he won that rifle, and he's really enjoying it. So, but I know, Jake, you're talking about doing some great stuff too, and it's just
Right. We actually, I
did.
think we have a gun giveaway on the on the cusp here. So more info on that one. It's 100%
Amazing.
locked in. But
Can't wait to win that.
But yeah, the AR-15 podcast is also doing a AR-15 complete build giveaway. So with optic and everything, so that's pretty cool. So Firearms Radio Network's giving away guns left and right. So
Yeah, absolutely. It pays to be a listener.
right, yeah. So Hunter Design, hunterdesign.com. Ryan Cross does all the awesome artwork on the network, every single piece of it, even We Like Shooting. So if you're looking for graphic design, check out hunterofdesign.com. All right, well, that wraps it up for this week. And you can leave your feedback or thoughts by sharing them at the bottom of the show notes at gunguyradio.com/136 or the bottom of this YouTube video. Please subscribe in iTunes so you never miss a show, or leave us a iTunes review. Helps other people find the show. Also, join the Second Amendment Foundation or the NRA. I'm a member of them both, and they do things that we as individuals just can't accomplish to save and expand and fight for our gun rights. And don't forget to shop Brownells using our affiliate link, gunguyradio.com/satisfaction, or also shop Amazon, clicking on the Amazon affiliate banners. So that about wraps it up. Don't forget to listen to the other awesome shows on the Firearms Radio Network, like We Like Shooting, Sean. Where can they listen to We Like Shooting at?
They can listen to us at We Like Shooting Podcast, iTunes. We just launched our own Roku channel. And you can find out more about that at welikeshooting.com/Roku. It'll tell you how to get it and all that good stuff. Stitcher, just like everything else, all the best places that Firearms podcasts are served.
Roku channel? Say what?
Yeah, man. We've got our own We Like Shooting Roku channel. You can listen to the edited show or watch the live show every single week.
You can watch it as it's live?
Yeah, you can watch the live show or all the archived live shows.
I'm impressed. I'll have to hook my Roku back up.
Seriously, it's worth it just for that.
I know. Well, I switched to the Amazon Fire. Is it the Fire TV? What's the Amazon one called?
I think something like that.
Something like that, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so now, like, all my secondary apps went away, so now, yeah, I'll have to hook that back up. Very cool. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Sean. Thank you, Anthony. We'll see you next week.
This has been a production of the Firearms Radio Network. You can find more information at firearmsradio.tv. Load and make ready. Are you a competitive shooter or aspiring to be one? Want to get into the fun and exciting sport of practical shooting? Check out the Power Factor Show, the only video podcast that covers IDPA, USPSA, 3-gun, and sporting clays. Go to PowerFactorShow.com or search iTunes and your favorite podcatcher app for Power Factor Show. Are you ready? Stand by.